I think we're back.
Yay.
Sorry about that temporary disconnect. We just want to make sure y'all were paying attention.
There we go. This is life. This is life.
Yes, the beauty of going live.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying how like the mindset was really like the missing piece.
Yeah.
And how
and when I started to explore that internal dialogue, I just was so shocked by how I actually spoke to myself. And it's a big component for my women when they start to explore that as well. So that was kind of the path to get to health coaching. And it is my life. It's my passion. There's no difference between who I am and Debbie Roppo Health Coach. It's
right.
We are one, right? So it's a beautiful thing.
I love that. And you work specifically with women, mostly because, I mean, all of the advice out there, all of the information out there, it is different for men and for women. Like what you might hear in one situation, it's not for us yet. We almost had free food.
Yeah.
But it is very specific to like the chemistry of women. Now, do you have a specific age range where you work with women?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because a lot of men have asked me, well, why don't you work with men? I mean, we care about our health too, and I get it. But I think this is a big problem with health is that we put everybody in one bucket.
Yep.
We come up with data.
Statement.
Right, and most data is based on the research on men and not women. So I'm very specific in making sure that I learn about the woman and know about the woman's health. And I work with really women 50 and older that some people like to call it the decline of menopause. I call it the upgrade phase because I know the truth, right? I'm going to be 60 in 2 years, near in a couple of months. And I experienced first that rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis, felt like I lost control. Then I hit perimenopause and the same thing. Felt like, wait a minute, I'm losing control.
Yeah.
It just felt, I could feel that I thought different. I was struggling with things that I had never struggled with before. And so that's part of why I coach women, because that's an important part.
Yeah, and you've been through it.
Yeah.
So then you can like advise and speak to exactly those things.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, you mentioned like perimenopause, because I feel like that's been talked about much more in the past year.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure if it's just now becoming like, okay, this is designated for like, yes, this is what happens. This is the, not people always, that's not accurate. There are many people who lose trust and faith in the research because it changes. But you guys have to understand that it's like scientifically based. The more we develop, the more we study, the more we test different theories and things, right? Like then that knowledge is really like brought to life. Mm-hmm. So like the more you know, then the mindset shifts, right? Because now you're like, okay, so now I understand it better. And then you start sharing and you start educating along those ways. So I do love how much you help women really understand that and put a name to a lot of the things that we all go through.
Right. And we think that we have blanket statements about things. And it's one of from the very beginning, I've been so, it was very important for me that I came across the understanding that bioindividuality is a real thing. Menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause for one woman is a complete different ballgame for another woman. And to say, here, this is what you should do. People ask me, what's the best this? What's the best that? Mm-hmm. I got some questions first. Right. I need some more data to let you know what is. And so having that bioindividuality and knowing that for even menopause experience, we now know that some women are going to experience it and it's going to be a real challenge, and it has a lot to do with metabolic health. So if you've got numbers and figures that are in your metabolic health, like your weight, your waist circumference, your blood pressure, all these different markers, that's going to can really contribute to how you experience menopause. Right. And so that's part of the picture.
Yeah, my mom has, I think, like suffered from hot flashes for 20 years.
Yeah.
And she's tried all sorts of cocktails from all sorts of doctors. And I think it's finally now like abated, but I don't know if that's also because like age and like her body's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done hot flashing.
Yeah.
So like I'm so scared of that, but I am also aware that like, yeah, taking care of things ahead of time and making sure like across the board that like my body is healthy to go into that phase. And I feel
Yeah.
like you would react differently as
Yeah, you absolutely do. And that's why I literally call it the upgrade phase,
well.
because we think it's decline. We think aging is decline. And I just don't see it that way. Right? For me, we know one of the things that happens in menopause, right? Our brains change 3 times in a woman's life. When she hits puberty, when she has a child, and menopause. And one of the things that happens in menopause is these synapses basically start getting snipped, and we just don't care about what other people are thinking so much anymore.
Filter gone.
Yeah, like, and it needs to, because we're growing into the wise women of the village.
Yes.
And some people, a lot of my clients, they come and they want to go back to where they were.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about going back to where you were when you were 20, because that's not going to happen.
Right.
There aren't magic pills.
Yeah.
It's different. There's actually a larger, more exciting ship that we want to show you. And if you are, choosing different things in your life to help that, it can feel that way. I know that, like I said, I'm, going to be my age, or, almost 6 years old, and my energy, my flexibility, my strength, my mind, my clarity, my sleep, all these things are incredible.
Yeah.
But I had to put in a lot of work to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no magic pill, like you said.
There's not one. I wish I had fairy dust, but I don't.
It's work, but it also doesn't have to be like hard work, right? Like the more you know. So actually, I'll pause that and ask a question. So I'm sure you probably get this challenge of bringing women to the side of like there is another option than the typical, go to Western medicine and get this like, cocktail of medications and all that stuff, which a lot of people are against, because each one you take then causes some kind of reaction, or flares up another part of you, and then you feel like you're constantly like fighting this thing. So even though we know long term it causes all of these things, I feel like a lot of people are still like on the fence about like, is changing my nutrition really going to make a difference, or all of these things. So how do you overcome that, like when you meet different women, and do you just like educate and let them come to terms themselves, or is there like some way that you found to really resonate with them?
The first thing is that it's not my role to decide if you should be on medication or not. That's you're in your doctor's role, and I trust whatever the two of you decide.
Right.
What I want to do is this vessel that's carrying our vision and our dreams and our hopes, right? We want to make it as healthy as possible. So for me, it's a bit like, let's use an analogy. If you plant a plant in soil that's filthy and doesn't have nutrients, and right, what kind of plant are you going to get? It's the same for the human body. We're cells.
Mm-hmm.
We're
basically plants.
Yeah, we are basically plants, right? So when we support these different areas, then the immune system gets better.
Mm-hmm.
The energy level gets better, right? All of these little shifts happen. And when I'm coaching a woman, we start with adding and not, don't do this, don't do that. Because I don't know about you, but the minute someone says don't, I'm like, excuse me.
I'm going to do it no matter what.
I'm going to choose, right? So we really look at what can you add in to support that body. And I don't try to convince anybody that nutrition is going to make you feel better, or movement's going to make you feel better, or your internal dialogue, or how you're dealing with relationships, or your stress management, all these 12 branches that I have, right? I don't try to convince anybody. I did for many, many years. I don't anymore. Now I work with the women that know there's something in me. I just know that if I can change my physical body, my mental thought pattern, I know that I'm going to show up different.
Yeah.
And so I used to try to convince women to understand this process. Now I work with the women that do know that this is my physical body. What's happening here is of course going to matter. things show up in my outside world.
100%.
Yeah.
We were talking about before too, and you had a better quote, but the one that I know is like, you know, you can't build on a crumbling foundation, right? If you don't take care of yourself first, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner, right? If you don't take care of yourself first, things start to fall and to crumble.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I do think of health as, because I work with a lot of business women, as part of your business strategy.
Has to be.
It's not something that, oh, as soon as I'm not busy, then I'm going to take care of it, which is what a lot of women do, because that's what we do.
Listen, yeah.
That's what we do. Eventually we'll get to me. And I'm trademarking the inner empire. And it's where the inner empire, your outer empire is only as strong as your inner empire. And for me, the inner empire is the cells, your health of your cells, the health of your mind, the health of, you know, your physical body, your mind, your spiritual practice, all of those things. That's what creates the out. And most of the time we're looking at the outside stuff. Let me go, if that gets better, then I will.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
No.
And if it does, you can maybe white knuckle for a while, but eventually you're going to fall off the cliff.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny too. You were talking about how we forget to take care of ourselves. I did a post recently, but because I recognized like I was forgetting to eat lunch.
Yeah.
Right. I scheduled my days with like so many like meetings, client meetings, like team meetings, like task work, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it would be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my stomach is like trying to eat itself. And I literally had to like add it into my calendar. Like, listen, at 12 o'clock or at 1 o'clock or at 11, whatever, depending on the day. Right. But like, you're going to stop and you're going to like sit down and you're going to have a lunch and take a few moments like for yourself, right? Versus like you said, like always like constantly chasing like the next thing and then, oh, I have to be here for this person and I have to be there for this person. And like why it's so hard for us to really like bring us into that. You're just as important, if more important, like you said, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I lived that way. That was my life. Everything was everything was more important than me. My children, my relationships, my work. And I believe that was great. So in functional medicine, what we say is that autoimmune, like I have a genetic predisposition for this, but your genes are a loaded gun. Your lifestyle pulls the trigger or not, right? So when you choose these different ways of living in a healthier, more vibrant, calm, slow it down way, it helps so that trigger's not pulled. And I've seen this over and over, and women, they just don't believe it. But I'm telling you right now, I'm here to tell you, stopping, slowing down, being more intentional, you get more done.
Yes.
I know that we think that if we do, that I have to be go. That's not real.
Yeah.
Right? I have found in my own practice, the stopping, the slowing down, getting real clarity. Where are my most important, where do I put my attention? That's so much better than this just constant do.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's interesting too, because I've recognized, you know, up until a few months ago, like, you know, people always ask, oh, what do you do for fun? What do you have? Like, I don't have time for fun, right? Like, I'm like, I have like all of these tasks. I'm building a business, like I have a small team. So there's a lot of things that like fall on my plate, all of the things. And then it was like, okay, so you also need like a mental break. So I was like aware of that, but I was like, I felt guilty for not working, but also recognizing that I needed the break.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let me go do something fun. Let me go around friends. Let me just go socialize, like, right? Regenerate like my soul a little bit. And I felt guilty for not working. So what do I end up doing? I'm like, and then this back and forth, and then I end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because of this guilt of like, I should be.
Yeah.
Is that like Joanne that always says like, stop with the shoulds.
Yeah.
You know, but I felt like I should be doing this.
Yeah.
And so now I've gotten better at, you know, giving myself like, listen, after this time, like you're done work, you know, like whether you work 3 more hours or you do it in the morning, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And to like do fun things. Like I started doing line dancing like in this last year. Freaking love it. I'm so obsessed. Like I love to go dancing all the time. But also after I do, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
But it's funny that it takes to like,
Yeah.
even though I'm very intelligent, like I know logically, like it makes sense, take care of yourself, take care of everything else. And still like I fell into this like trap of like,
Yeah.
well, my list is like, the list is never gonna go away.
No. And it's interesting because that's programming, right? That's what we've been trained as women. That's part of what we've been trained to do. And that's why I love my inner empire kind of analogy, because what I imagine is, okay, so I'm out, I've got my kingdom. Here's my inner empire, right? Which is like the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got all of my outer empire. So I'm out here and I'm trying to fix all the things and doing all the things in the outer empire, and the castle is burning.
Yes.
Right? And we're, oh God, well, we don't have time to go put the fire out in the castle because I got to go do this over here. And so in my mind, it just so logical. Well, wait, I got to make sure the castle's really strong, that it's capable to handle all the things that it needs to. So for me, that was my analogy. Saying, wait a minute, and I could see it different because I'm a visual. I love images, right?
Yeah.
So that it made it very simple. Wait a minute, what the F am I doing out here worried about this 9 task list that I have to do when my body is screaming, it's inflamed, it's screaming, please stop.
Yeah.
And I've learned that when I do that, I can come. Still there? Yeah.
Yes.
I can get the same project done faster and more efficient when I come in with energy, as opposed to when I'm coming on like my brain's fried. And so it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And similar too. So for years, oh my gosh, since I was like younger, I used to always boast like how great of a multitasker I was. I'm like, I can do like so many things at the same time. And then slowly but surely realize like, no, you're just half-assing that many more things. You're not really good at like taking care of all of the things, which is what we end up doing. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you're like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and then you end up still kind of like just in the middle, and you're not kind of moving forward into the direction that like, you want to go.
And we now know that multitasking is a myth.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're actually multitasking. You're moving from one thing to another, and you're hop, 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 hop. And the amount of energy that burns up. Right? It's one of the reasons I've turned off all notifications on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
When I am doing A, I am doing A.
Yeah.
The emails are off. I have a fan going in the background if my boyfriend's like on a call or something.
Yeah.
I'm focused on A. And then when A is completed at whatever level, it doesn't have to get completely done, but then okay, now we're doing B. And with that super hyper clear focus, just like you said, the quality of what I get done is so different than I was trying to hop from here to, I didn't remember that part of the email. I didn't say this piece. I didn't, because we're trying to act. And why multitask? Like, right? And I get it. I'm a very busy businesswoman. I've got clients. I go on podcasts. I've got speaking engagements now. I've got all of this going on in my business. We post in multiple places. I've got a newsletter. I've got a blog. So I'm a busy woman. And I still structure it in a way because I am not slave to my schedule.
Yes.
I'm king of the castle and queen of the castle.
Yes.
Right? And what's around me, my business, my schedule, they're there to serve me.
Yeah.
And I am strict on that. I am strong boundaries in that area.
To the point where you start your day in a very specific way as well.
Yeah. I go to bed the same time as 2-year-old toddlers, and I get to bed nice and early, and I wake up about 4:30 in the morning, and I spend 2 hours every morning in my spiritual practice.
Yeah.
It's very private to me. It's a time where everything's so quiet because it's so early in the morning, and I don't turn on my computer. I don't open my phone. I go into my office, shut the door, and I sit on my couch and I do whatever I feel like I need to do. I do a lot of readings, journaling, meditation, and I do that because I want to show up as the inner empire queen every day. That's how I want to show up. And maybe some people can magically wake up and that's who they are. I need to take a minute to get there.
Yeah.
And I really want to focus on making sure that when I walk through my day, that I'm not just, I mean, this is life. This is it. Right now, the moment,
one shot.
me and you sitting beside each other, the chatter in the background, the smell of the coffee. This is life. It's not someday, you know, when I get the mountain peak. You know, I spoke to a woman today, and that's something that she said. She said, you know, well, I want to, you know, once I get, you know, to that top of that mountain, I know that, and I just stopped her, and I just want to reflect on that. What if your inner empire queen is already with you right now on the journey up that mountain, and it's just unveiling her instead of someday? That's why when women, you'll hear them say, "Oh, I'm becoming." Like,
you are.
Like over there, like what, do we have
next week?
Yeah, like what does that mean?
Yeah.
Are we growing and expanding? Yes, but for me, it's an unveiling. We just keep unveiling these old beliefs, these old stories, these things that you were taught, this old programming, and that that strong inner empire queen who's healthy, alive, vibrant, who knows who she is, she's already there. She's just covered.
Yeah. That's a beautiful way to put that. And I do love your visuals because I'm like imagining all these things like as you're saying
it's
it.
My whole life. Yeah, that's all I think.
And but it sticks, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you like exactly that visual. And it is so true because you're not changing who you are. You're just removing all of the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I want to highlight too, I get it that there are times that we have to push.
Yes.
We're business women. Yes. I'm not living in fairy tale world.
The bills got to get paid.
Yeah.
We know.
We got to do the things.
Yeah.
And if you really have strategy, and that's why I call health a business strategy. If you have a strategy around your health and how do those things intermix, then you can walk into your business and do it in this super healthy way.
Yeah. You need that.
I agree.
100%. And it makes a difference too. The more that you learn, the more you're able to like unveil, then the more that you're able to show up in the way that you want to show up. And I do love, let me go back to the way that you wake up in the morning too, the fact that you basically like own those first 2 hours to really be intentional about how you're going to show up that day is such a beautiful practice. And I feel like, again, same thing, like so much of you get out of bed, you do this task, you do this, you got to do laundry this day or whatever, and like the day just ticks over. You know, and to take that time to really like set that intention for the day, how you're going to be before the rest of the world comes in, you know, barges in. It ticks over.
I actually really learned that from the women that I work with. I noticed it in them first before I noticed it in myself. I kept hearing over and over and over again, it feels like Groundhog Day. I wake up, I move through it, and then it's 3 years later, and I'm just like, what? I'm so unfulfilled. My passion's gone. I keep doing the things. I keep doing them, and I was, wait, let me just start looking at that in my own life, and I realized I was doing the same thing, and I am not interested in living that way. I have a very strong passion to live in vitality and passion. I want excitement in my life. And even if that excitement is that stopping, getting quiet, and finding that strong woman inside me, because I'm just like everyone else. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, woe is me.
I think it's a day.
Right, we do. And that's okay. But I get into that space. I allow, and another thing I want to share is it's not that you just cover and put. If I wake up, I sit in that. Oh, you feel a little sad today. Do you need it? What do you need from me, darling? Kind of, right? What do you need? I don't push through that. I work with it. Yeah. Oh, you know what? This, and this. You overscheduled me. Oh, okay. you let that boundary down, and you allowed that person to say that, and those types of things.
Yes.
Because then when we're aware of okay, I understand. You need that protection. Gotcha. I'll take care of that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and if you don't take the time to reflect, in whatever way that is, right? So
Yeah.
I love driving.
Yeah.
I love going on road trips. And people always like comment because I usually drive like in silence. But in my mind, like that's the perfect moment where I reflect on
good.
all the things, right? I think of the conversations I've had. I think of the things that I've seen, right? Or the books that I've read. And like, I really process. And I literally have like this whole section in my phone that has like all these notes, like road trip thoughts.
Yeah.
And, you know, of like just like aha moments that I had like, yes.
Your
like,
future book.
Yes. Working on that. But yeah, like all these moments. But unless you take the time to really be unplugged, number one, because there's so much information. Like, I mean, I'm in marketing, right? That's like the whole job of the entire world is trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
To like really unplug and just be in that moment and reflect and talk back.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that we have this, again, this mountaintop thing, and that's once I get there, then and it's just not reality. This is it. Today, this moment, this very moment is life. And that to honor it with that thought that, wow, this is my life. How do I want to live? How do I want to think? How do I want to feel? Do I want my life? You know, I like to live on an island, and the moat goes down on occasion, but
very selective.
Very right. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm not having draining energy in my life. I'm not having the nonsense. I'm not interested anymore.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The more that you are aware of how precious that energy is, that you're that much more aware of the energy exchange between people.
Yeah.
And there are certain people that will drain you.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's family. So unfortunately you can't avoid them completely,
Yeah.
you know, but you can limit that or,
Yeah.
you know, create the boundaries around that. But you do have to be very selective of not only the people, but the food that you take, the products that you put on your body, the environment that you are in, you know, the information that you're listening to or receiving, all of that matters because it could be just so dampering. Like it just covers, you know, everything that you're trying to do, and then you feel like you're moving against the current.
So true.
Yeah.
It's when I teach, I have a tree analogy, and the main root is the identity, right? It's the main, and when you have that, you stop in the morning, and you have that true identity of who you are, then all of those choices change. It changes naturally. People think that I got to change the way I eat. I got to change this. I got to change that. And you do. You're right. Yeah. But to start there, you're going backwards. You're going in the wrong direction, right? If you can start with the identity piece of who you are and your value and what your worth is, then those choices change naturally. And is that a walk in the park? Is that easy? Hell no. Only the brave, strong women are the ones that go down that path. Yeah. And we do it at the same time. So you look at food, because the leaves on the tree are like the symptoms, right? And the branches are, you know, nutrition and relationships. And so you have to look at all of those as well and nurture those in certain ways. But it all starts down with that identity piece, and it's the fastest way to move.
Yeah.
It's challenging, but it's the fastest way to move.
Yeah. Do you help women with that, like by asking them like who they want to be or how they want to show up? Like what's kind of the structure to get them to really like start looking inward and getting that identity clear?
Yeah. That's, I think, my master. What I'm the best at is question asking. Asking questions, and you're really great too, by the way.
Thank you.
But I want to know the why behind. You know, I want, you know, I have to do all this work. I have to do all this work. I have to do all of these things. They have to get all done because it's the because behind it. And then they tell me, well, because I want to run a good, you know, I want to have a healthy business. Why? What do you want healthy business? And you'll start to hear language. And sometimes it's because I'm going to prove to my dad. I'm doing it because I'm going to show them. I'm doing it because, well, if I have a really good business and I make money, that means I'm worthy.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, I'm
That's a big
worthy.
one.
Right?
Yep.
So when I start to hear that kind of language, I start to reflect it back a little bit. And it's amazing to me when I reflect back, they're shocked that they think this way.
Yeah.
And so it's not that when I work with a woman, it's all about identity and that's the only thing. It's plugged in all these other ways, and it's almost as seamless, like you don't really know what's happening in the background kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the process where it's just really good. I don't fix anyone. That's not my job. My job is to be a mirror, a reflection of where you're at. And when you see that, and you start to, wait a minute, I just said, what did I just say?
Yeah.
A lot of women are shocked by it. And that reflection back and forth, it really moves the needle.
It really does. And like you mentioned earlier, it's not always easy, right? Being honest and really looking at taking a hard look at who you are, what you do, like your actions, your habits, all of that. You know, the things ingrained from like childhood, things that you've like carried over, right? Like it is hard sometimes, those hard conversations, but the more that you really like uncover from that, and the more that you really understand about yourself, it just makes that next level that much more powerful.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know, not that I'm going to get into detail, but I went through an enormous amount as a child. Right? I have childhood trauma. I was an alcoholic. I've been divorced. There's a lot of story, a lot of deep story behind. The woman and how I experience my life now it isn't something that magically happened.
Right.
It was this real gentle, well, maybe not for myself so gentle at times, but this real process of exploring myself and learning to look at myself. And it's not easy. It's not easy to look in the mirror and say, wow, your daughter grew up and your son grew up with an alcoholic mother. That's not an easy thing to, admit and look at. But this is the way I see it now.
Yeah.
If I'm willing to, if I'm brave enough to say, let me take a look, that makes me the best mom I can be now.
100%.
Right? And so it's not that our pasts aren't tainted and fucked up in some ways.
Yeah.
They are. And we've learned crazy things and we've been programmed in crazy ways. And that doesn't change our work. Whatever happened to you, whatever was done to you, whatever you've been none of that ever touched the inner empire queen. She's always been there. She's not touched. Our outside is like, oh, yes, she has. And we believe that. I certainly did. I thought it was a piece of shit for so many years. But that unveiling, wait a minute, that's a lie. That's a lie. Where did that story come from?
Mm-hmm. Who told you that?
Yeah. And that unveiling piece, you find her. She comes out. And then when she's in charge, she eats well, she does the movement, she says yes, she says hell no when she wants to. She creates a schedule that works for her. She has a business that kicks ass. Right? She's and it's doable. It's possible.
Yeah, you just have to take the time to actually reflect and ask those questions.
Yeah.
You know, and it is beautiful to have someone to, like you said, like you're a mirror and like, you know, you reflect back to people, because a lot of times, I mean, that's what therapists do, right? Like they never tell you anything. Right. They ask you the questions and listen to the way that you, that you answer.
Yeah.
And they dig deeper into that.
Yeah.
Because it's all about what you uncover for yourself, right? Because what did we all learn in school? Half of us don't remember.
Right.
Because we were just told.
Right.
We were just told. We weren't taught to like discover it on our own or like come to those answers on our own.
Right.
Like, no, we were taught like, A through Z.
Right.
So you kind of like learn how to just follow the steps.
Yeah.
It's not the same as like true understanding.
Yeah. And I refer my women out all the time. I refer them out to psychotherapists, right? Because that's that process for me that the work that I really want to do is I want to help the women.
Excuse me, hope you didn't hear that.
You okay?
Yes.
I want to help the women explore the parts of them that have been ignored and that they've pushed us down, and right, and not in a psychotherapy or a therapist way. That's not my role. It's out of my scope of practice.
Right.
But just exploring, that inner who we are woman and playing with that, we can change everything on your outside. And then, of course, as a board certified health and wellness coach, integrative nutrition coach, and emotional eating psychology coach, I have a lot of data that I can share as well. What foods, about emotional eating, and what does that look like? What does that even mean? And all these, I have the knowledge as well, to help with that process.
Love that. And what was all the certifications that you just rattled off very quickly? So if someone is interested.
Yeah. I'm a board certified health and wellness coach, and less than 10% of coaches are board certified. Emotional eating psychology coach and integrative nutrition coach. And I'm this close to having my specialty in hormone health as well for women.
Love that. And it all ties in so beautifully.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the perfect piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I agree.
Love that. If you guys are interested in finding out more about Debbie, this whole time we've had her name and her website up on the screen, so feel free to check out her website. You can sign up for her newsletter. You can invite her to speak at your next event.
Yes.
All of the things.
Yeah.
I want to go back real quick to, we were talking about, the inner, really like identity, right?
Yep.
Like the trunk and roots. And I feel like a lot of people forget to, like, the yin and yang of life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we love a lot because we know loss, right? Like that, the opposites. You love yourself not only because of the best parts of you, but the worst parts of you as well. It's all like to come together, and it makes you who you are.
Yeah.
And we do all have stories, and we do all have, maybe not all, but a lot of people have like traumatic experiences, right? And we do anchor like certain moments like that we tend to identify with. But it's not those moments. It is like, it's the whole piece, all sides of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we're more like one with ourselves, good and bad, just own it.
Yeah. And that, it reminds me of, I was speaking to one of my clients, and she was talking about, she's talking about kind of the darkness that she has these things, and again, I go to a therapist if you need to talk about that stuff, but she wanted to chat with me about it, and she was saying I feel a little bit, I like description, and so I like them to tell me, what do you see? What does it feel like? It's like this dark cave that I just don't want to go into. She says, but I end up there sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's a great thing to talk to your therapist about.
Right.
And I said, I'm just curious, because she happened to had designed this, bought a really old home, and she started to design it and made it this beautiful home. She remodeled the entire thing. I'm curious about if that dark stuff, that place that's dark, the stuff that we don't want to admit about ourselves, what if we put some lights on it? What if we put some beautiful fabrics where we can sit and relax in there? We can invite our little girls inside and have a little
give it
play
a makeover,
day, right? Give it a makeover. And so not in this therapy kind of way, but in this sense of what you said. The dark stories of our lives are not meant to crush us and bury us. They're meant to evolve us. It's the ashes that we come out of, right?
Phoenix moment.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And that we can feel guilt and shame, and I'm okay with guilt, because guilt's a moment. If it's for a moment, I shouldn't have done that. I feel a little bit guilty about that. I need to adjust that. Guilt for a moment is fine. Shame is never okay.
Yeah.
Right? You have nothing to be ashamed about. Whatever you did, the choices that I've made some shit choices in my life. I'm not ashamed of them. Yeah, I'm not ashamed of them anymore. Yeah. Now it's, that's good data.
Yeah.
That's good data for the next decision.
And that's what it really is, right? Because one way or another, it's not like you could go back 5, 10, 15. You can't go back to yesterday and change what happened. Like, it is what it is. So like the best way to do it is to, collect the data. I love that.
Yeah.
Reflect on it. Yeah. And file that into the vault here, and just be aware of it, but don't let it define you. Don't let it direct where you're going in your day.
And this is going to sound trivial to some women, and they're going to think, oh, she's dismissing, but I do want to say this. They're thoughts in your head. It's over.
Yep.
So when we start to play with that, wait a minute, could I explore? Could I get really curious about this and play with this in a different way? Can I look at this, that event that happened, or what experience, instead of from a little 5-year-old little girl, but from a woman, and play with those types of things?
Yes.
It can change everything in your life. And
100%.
And again, not in a therapy kind of way, but just in this reflection of and honesty with yourself.
And there's another thing too. I heard recently. There's a psychiatrist, and I forget his name. But on the Mel Robbins podcast, and he was talking about when you do have those thoughts, like, talk to yourself.
Yeah,
you're like, say it out loud, because it helps put those thoughts, then exactly that, and takes them out of like feeling it inside of your body. You just literally like, I feel guilty about this. Why do I feel guilty about this? Right? Because it is just thoughts passing by. And guess what? You control that.
Yeah.
And so have those conversations out loud, and really,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the core of this message here is learn about yourself.
Yeah.
Get true.
Absolutely. And that you already are the amazing, incredible inner empire queen right this minute.
Yes.
It just takes some unveiling. That's and not just takes some unveiling. It's definitely some work, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. 100%. Just being like a business owner myself for the last 8 years, like the amount of things that I have learned about myself, like in the process, and at, stage by stage. And yes, could I have built it a different way, or faster, or whatever, whatever those intangible moments are. I personally love every moment of what I've done, like through successes, through failures. Like, I have just learned so much about myself and who I am now.
Yes.
No, I'll take that back. I've always been this person, but she is coming out now, like front and center, like, yes, this is who I am. This is what I do. And this is what I love. I love life. Right. Yeah. But having those conversations with myself, I wouldn't have like the recognition and like the awareness that I do now without having those moments. Yeah. Which is beautiful.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So magic.
It is. It truly is.
Speaking of magic, do you have any final thoughts here as we're rounding up to the hour? So any final thoughts you want to leave the audience with today?
Yeah. I think it's just that inner empire queen idea, that your dreams, your hopes, your passions, if they're in there for a reason. You have you're worthy of them. And that if you struggle with attaining what you want and getting where you want to be, seek help.
Yeah.
Seek out anyone that you need to seek out, because it's a community. You need a community of people to grow and expand and be unveil those things in you.
Takes a village.
Yeah. Seek community. You don't have to do this alone in your room by yourself. Though you need that sometimes too.
Yeah, right. And I mean, there's what the quote by Albert Einstein says: you can't fix a problem with the same mentality that you created it with.
True.
right? And unless you're exposed to those other thoughts, those other ideas, other people, like you're gonna stay in, the stuck,
Yeah.
you
100%.
know, and we don't want that for you.
No.
So definitely check out Debbie's website, sign up for her newsletter, stay in touch. Like I said, invite her to speak at your next event. You will not miss out. You're gonna love every second of it. But thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, Debbie, for joining. This was fabulous, and an hour flew by.
I know.
So if you guys have any questions, comments, if you're watching this in the replay, make sure to put them in the comments. We'll both keep an eye on those, and we'll answer any questions that comes up. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you guys next week. Have a fabulous weekend.